Copeland Biosciences has been a company in the making now for 6 years. We started way back in 2012, 2013, looking at the medicinal values of CBD, cannabis, and treatment. So this gives you a bit of an oversight of what my background is. Sports medicine, podiatrist. Been with the Toronto Blue Jays for in my 40th year. Medical director of Ottawa Sports and Entertainment Group, the Ottawa Red Blacks, Ottawa Fury, Ottawa 67s. Consultant to the Atlanta Braves, as well as Major League Baseball umpires and a few other things which I won't bore you with. As a sports medicine guy, I think the thing that was driven home to me early in my career was the importance of getting players back on the field and getting them back healthy. And there's been a huge push since I trained in the 70s and early 80s. That huge push has been safely get them back on the field. Not get them on the field. Back in the old days, we'd inject cortisone, we'd inject just about anything that we could to get a player back in the field. And then, unfortunately, 2, 10, 15 years later, we'd see the adverse reactions. Those days are done. Medicine today takes a healthy and much stronger approach to the safety of the player. And then we've turned that over into how do we bring this to the weekend warrior? How do we bring it to patients who have rheumatoid arthritis? So the next gentleman who I'm very pleased to talk about, who's our medical director and truly a medical hero, is Dr. Sir Mark Feldman. Mark Feldman is head of research at Oxford University. Mark is the inventor of a drug that changed the world. The drug, if you don't know it, is Remicade. Remicade is a drug that is used to treat all the autoimmune diseases. And these autoimmune diseases are rheumatoid arthritis, ankylosing spondylitis, colitis, Crohn's disease, and a whole host of others. Mark was the one who developed and did all the research over many, many years. We've known Mark for a long time now. He loved what our research was doing and asked to be part of it. So all of our early research that we're doing now and in the future will be under Sir Mark. Mark was knighted by Her Majesty. The Remicade drug was such a deal breaker, or deal maker, I should say, for medicine, that he was recognized as probably the one of the greatest drugs that has hit the medical market in the last 50 years that's not related to cancer. So Mark and I are busy working on our formulations. His sidekick is Professor Jagdeep Nanchahal. Jag is by training a plastic surgeon. He specializes in hand reconstruction. He's also associate director of research at Oxford. And so these two gentlemen, with myself and a host of others, are looking at all of our formulations and how we topically, not orally, but topically, change the disease state, tendinitis, and a number of things which I'll show you. So let's look at the injury market, just to give you an idea of the indications and the needs. Tendinitis, overuse injuries. The global tendinitis treatment market was worth 461 million Canadian in 2018 and is predicted to exceed 561 million. That's just tendinitis. Tendinitis is overuse injuries. Tendinitis is things baseball players get in their shoulders and elbows. Runners will get in their foot and ankle. Soft tissue inflammation. This global market is close to 5.2 billion, and is predicted to be worth 11 billion. And athletic trauma injuries, 7.6 billion. So as a team doctor, our role has always been to be the cutting edge. People will always say to us, oh, what do you do for a Toronto Blue Jay? What do you do for an Atlanta Brave? And so this little company we've started and formalized is using the cutting edge. We are the ones who have invented many of the technologies such as shockwave and laser, which is being used now by all major league teams, whether you're talking NHL, NFL, NBA, NBA, pretty much, and the soccer leagues in Europe. So we've been doing this a long time. What we've come across since the early invention and acceptance, if you will, of cannabis, medical cannabis, is we've looked at the value of cannabis and CBD. There's so much misinformation out there. You can't pick up a newspaper today without reading about what CBD does, what it's supposed to do, what it's used for, and it's used from anything from headaches and sleep to erectile dysfunction. And there's really, unfortunately, very little research to support a lot of it. We've set about now using Oxford University and Sir Mark to quantify and qualify everything we're doing, from our formulations to our ability to isolate and treat injuries as a separate and distinct item. So the current options available, as you can see on the slide, opioids, which has become, thankfully, one of the great failures of medicine, getting people addicted to opioids, corticosteroids, cortisone. I think most of you knows the harmful side effects. Hyaluronic acid, at the very best, maybe 30 to 40% successful, which is also very much viscose supplementation. Physical therapy, which does help, and joint replacement, which is obviously for severe arthritis. But if you look on the bottom line, what we get to look at and understand clearly in medicine is kidney complications, osteoporosis, weight gain, high blood pressure, intestinal and stomach bleeding, ulcers in up to 25% of patients. When I trained, we were taught that anti-inflammatory medication caused ulcers in about 1.5%. That real number, using a upper GI scope, shows up to be anywhere between 19 and 25%. Those are huge, huge numbers. When you start to think that 1 out of every 5 people, 1 out of every 4 people taking an anti-inflammatory is going to ulcerate their stomach. So when we look at these kind of things, obviously we realized very early on that it was important for us to make sure that whatever we were doing, we were targeting a particular area of the body. Why give a professional baseball player or a young kid who's a swimmer, why do you give them an anti-inflammatory when the problem's here, not the rest of his body? And that was sort of the challenge for me 6 years ago, because I've seen it for 40 years, and I've seen, if we will, treating the body with medications that cause harm. So we've developed and designed innovative topical formulations used in conjunction with a wearable Health Canada cleared medical device acting as a carrier. Our specialized formulations are compounded by licensed Canadian pharmacists and contain varied concentrations of CBD oil, some including THC. So the important thing to understand is that what we're doing is using all the technology we have today and all the research that we've been able to truly find. And research is the key to the success of CBD. Saying this does this and saying I sleep better. We know in medicine there's two chains. There's anecdotal medicine and there's evidence-based medicine. Anecdotal medicine is you took it, you went to sleep, and you slept well. That's great. That's anecdotal medicine. Evidence-based medicine has tremendous influences. The drug company runs a particular study, and how valid is that study when the drug company who makes it is running that particular study. So we have a job to do. We don't make any of our drugs in regards to, we formulate them, we bring them together, but we don't make them. So we're tied to nobody. We've used our formulation. So the two major things that we've had to do, and this is important for our company and for the public, is the skin is an incredible barrier. And when I say an incredible barrier, people think you can rub cream on and it's going to fix an underlying issue. If it was that easy, every bacteria in the world would get through the skin and kill you. So the skin and bacteria and viruses are 1/1,000,000th of the size of what the creams are. So the hard part to target a particular area is to get the product into the tissue. And so that was the hardest part that we've come up with. So when we started looking at that, there was two ways we could do it. One was a wearable technology, which is putting something on the skin that would actually break down the skin temporarily, okay, and allow entry, if you will. And the second part was using a particular compound, and this particular compound is called PLO. It's you can look it up. It's pluronic. Anyways, we'll have a slide on it. But PLO married to this technology has been the secret to driving the formulations to where we've got to get them. And as a result, we're working right now on 3 new technologies that will be the outside driver, if you will, using sound wave, using laser, and using a higher tech sound wave that we find will actually drive our formulations through. So our formulations, when applied with the SAM Pro, and the SAM Pro, let me just go back. This is what the unit looks like. It's wearable. You can wear it for 4 hours a day. It's approved by Health Canada and FDA. It's a high energy shockwave machine. You can play your sport while you're wearing it. You will see players on the bench wearing them. This is ongoing treatment and safer than ultrasound. So when people question me about ultrasound, if anybody here has children, I can almost guarantee you they were ultrasounded while they were in uterus. So if it's safe enough to use on a baby in uterus, I would have to say it's very, very safe to use. So the side effects of ultrasound have been, over the years, proven to be incredibly safe. And the ultrasound guide through the skin does break down the barrier. So Copeland Biosciences formulations, when applied with SAM Pro, accelerates injury recovery and provides rapid pain reduction. Pain reduction begins in the first week of use. Most injuries are significantly improved within 2 to 4 weeks. So without mentioning names, as recently as 2 weeks ago, a major league player with the Atlanta Braves got hit by a ball. Badly enough to think that it was broken. They've x-rayed him. The x-rays were negative. A typical injury like that takes anywhere between 10 and 14 days to heal. He was immediately treated with our product, as most of the teams who have our products do, and was back taking batting practice 2 days later and playing. So that's what I mean when I say acceleration and targeting. There was no harm to him taking oral medication. Most injuries are significantly improved in 2 to 4 weeks. Medical devices may be conveniently worn at work during activities, and primary benefits are providing faster patient outcomes and eliminating the dependence and cost of oral anti-inflammatory or pain medications. Just to give you some idea of what's gone on in Major League Baseball, there's an anti-inflammatory that you may have heard called Toradol, and it's the injected form. It's been virtually banned by Major League Baseball. Banned, okay? And when I say banned, you can't take a prescription drug and take it off the market, but what they've done is they've said, do not use it because of the side effects. That's what's going on in the anti-inflammatory world. And so, you know, people will say to me, well, give me another area that we can use our product. Well, we have a clinic right now with 6 rheumatologists. And the rheumatologists are treating rheumatoid arthritis, ankylosing spondylitis. We have clinics with gastroenterologists who treat Crohn's disease and other diseases like that. But with the rheumatologists, they have the patient on Remicade or what we call a biological product. But they have a patient who's now suffering, not while they're on the Remicade, they could be also suffering with a bad shoulder. So are you going to give them more anti-inflammatories? And most of these people, unfortunately, are suffering from stomach issues from all the anti-inflammatories they've taken. So this has been a godsend for those rheumatologists, because that shoulder patient can now be treated with our program. It does nothing to interfere with what they're on, and it doesn't cause any systemic side effects. So very key. The market channels for us: healthcare practitioners, home healthcare, rehab clinics. We've signed up clinics now across Canada. We've only been up and running as a company for the last 3 months, and we've already got 30 some odd units placed, with a potential of another 60 over the next 2 months. Hospitals, fitness and performance facilities, specialty clinics, athletic teams. Right now, our objective is to make sure that every major league sports team in North America has our system. Professional player associations, we've been widely accepted by all the player associations, because there's no negative, there's no downside. WSIB in the US, which is WCB, actually pay for our units, the SAM2. Military as well, Veterans Affairs already has approved it with a doctor's prescription, and senior living and long-term care. Scalability and strategy. Well, we have a great team. We're led by Marcy Harriman, who's here. Marcy has her master's in athletic therapy from Boston University. A leader in our company is our Chief Operating Officer. Dave Wright, who was a former trainer of the Toronto Argonauts and the Ottawa Red Blacks, both led to the Grey Cup under Dave's guidance, worked with me with the Ottawa Red Blacks. Julie Guerrero, who's worked hand in hand with me on the treatment side for 10 years. And not least but last, I guess, my son, Aaron, who is our in-house counsel and our business development. So national accounts, right now we're in the 2 largest physiotherapy clinics in Canada. Between the 2 of them have almost 600 outlets. And we're looking at e-commerce right now, retail and telemedicine. We've signed a deal with Lifecare, which is out of BC. Engagements, pleased to tell you that Louis Goldberg has agreed to take us on, and away we go. So the last slide I'll show you, and then open up for questions briefly, is our capital structure right now. I think it speaks for itself. So I'll take questions, because we just have about 2 minutes left. Sorry. Yes, sir.
I have a question. Wait for the mic, please. Wait for the mic, please.
Thank you, Louis. Appreciate it.
For your IP, I'm a bit confused. Does it cover your formulations, or does it cover the device itself, or is it a combination of the
Combination. Yeah, the device, we do not produce the device. We have exclusive distribution in Canada, and distribution, but not exclusive around the world. But saying that, we're hoping to develop our proprietary SAM of some sort, or work with the SAM people and bring them on board. Yes, sir.
Hi, Jason. Is this I missed the first few minutes. Is this a water soluble technology that'll go in there, or oil?
Is it water soluble?
Yeah.
Is that the question?
Yeah.
All CBD in all of our formulations are water soluble, but saying it's water soluble doesn't mean it gets through the skin. And I think that's the key for people to understand. When people tell you they can rub stuff on the skin, any good dermatologist will tell you aren't getting it through the skin. Any good dermatologist will tell you the wrinkling that goes on, and you're putting that magic cream on, yeah, for 10, 15 minutes, because the outer cells will take the water, but it's gone very quickly, okay? It's getting through the layer that counts. There was another question over here, too.
Last question.
Yeah, hi, this is Andrew. I'd just like to get your point of view on the marriage of THC and CBD versus just pure CBD. You've got THC and CBD in some products. Could you just quickly talk to that?
So the question is CBD by itself versus?
The ratios, TBD and THC together. Just
It's a very good question, and our research is very, very, very vague. Depending on the studies, and I'm talking about the real studies, I'm not talking about the internet, okay, stuff that some kid wrote when he was 14. The real studies are very interesting because right now there's a huge push on CBD hemp as being more powerful as an anti-inflammatory, and the cannabinoid receptors in the body, and there's 2 of them, take to the hemp side much better than the CBD with THC. Okay? And in Major League Sports, you mentioned the word THC, and even to the public. I'm still practicing at Mount Sinai a couple of days a week, and when you say THC to somebody, they go freaky. But CBD hemp, hey, they're putting it in chocolate cake these days. God knows why. Louis, thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks, buddy. Thank you.